What's going on? Movie Mouse here, back in City Skylines, another episode of Rosewood Let's Play Season 10, episode number 4. And today, I think is going to be a fun one. I never put an episode together thinking it's not going to be a fun one, but I think there's a couple cool projects and a couple cool developments that are going to happen in today's episode. But let me tell you about a couple little things that I did offline. Nothing too big, don't get worried. I idled for quite a while. You can see by the demand, like I haven't really been zoning anything. I've just been making money off the people that are here and built up some money for this episode. So we're close to $250,000. I've dropped a lot of trees in, at least on the other side here. This is kind of an empty lot. So I started spamming a different palette of a couple different trees. I've got to come in and fill in some of the gaps, but just to kind of give it a little bit different look. The other thing I did, I cleaned up the park paths a lot from last episode. I just kind of dropped those in, was really forcing it. But I cleaned up around some of the ends of the blocks. Like around here, this is a little bit better. I don't think I might have deleted like one unnecessary cut through there. Cleaned up around the high school a little bit. This is kind of a funny block, so that one looks a little bit better. I haven't touched this one yet, and I'm not really thrilled with how this all looks. So we'll clean that up and maybe get rid of this. I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on in this park, but it should be helping us. Let's see, with land value. That's the important thing. So we can kind of see land value is slowly but surely creeping up, and the park certainly doesn't hurt that. Okay, so yeah, in terms of other things, you may have noticed this. Ignore that for a second. One other thing that I did since the last episode was we have access to highway pieces now. So I upgraded. I didn't change any of the structure here. I just upgraded this from a 2-lane road to a 2-lane highway. This was a 2-lane one-way that became a single-lane exit. And then this piece is highway, and then this is highway going all the way down here. Leaving the city, same thing, 2-lane highway all the way up here, but then it opens up to 3 lanes so that... Oh, I was going to say, how are you turning left? You're turning left by going across. This has a dedicated lane for turning back into the city. If somebody needs to use that direction, they can do that. There were a couple comments that I wanted to bring up also. I think I jotted a couple of them down, or the ideas behind them. I know that... Where's info views? Traffic. We're at 93% right now. And I know Rihanna mentioned in the comments that you could kind of reduce some of the problems around this particular intersection by just funneling all this traffic one way and then letting it split up there. But I like the idea, and if we were having a bigger problem, I would totally do it. But the other thing I want to do is I want to keep this build feeling small. And in small towns, you might not see that. It's almost a reaction to building a city in City Skyline rather than how a city would actually be built or how traffic flow would actually happen. So I'm going to try and keep it small feeling. When this starts to get too busy, it means that we haven't built this over here. Also, this is impossible right now because we have all this residential demand that I was saving for when I was recording. I did a little something over here. So I think this 4-lane road was built to about here, and I hooked it down over this way. I did buy that tile. We have the 3 tiles across now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to build a 3x3 square. It's not... There's things you can get to, like shipping over here, which you can get to even though it's not technically on the tile. It has line of sight to the shipping, I guess. So at least that's what everybody said in the comments. I'm assuming that is correct. Why would I doubt you? I'm sure there's no disinformation campaign in the comment section. At least there wasn't until I said that, and I'm sure someone will come in with some smart responses. So, okay, what I did over here, this is oil, this lighter patch you see over here. I mentioned earlier it's a little bit, sorry for the camera whip, it's a little bit easy to confuse. at a quick glance with farming. This is farming in the foreground. A little bit darker is oil in the background. Now, I don't want an oil industry in my town that I'm trying to keep green. And we'll talk about this in a minute. But, you know, I don't want oil industry. So I was actually initially thinking the nature preserve. What is it? Again, one of them goes in a jar with fruit. It's a reserve. Anyways, hey, what did I do over here? Lots of fun stuff. I basically curved a gravel road along the outer edge of this slightly discolored grass from the oil pocket there. And what somebody had suggested in the comments, I thought it was a great idea, is let's do a green cities neighborhood, right? We haven't done that yet. So we go into districts, paint a district. We go into the specializations for residential, and we stamp down the self-sufficient buildings option. This is from the Green Cities DLC, and this is, I think, a really cool area to do this, but you'll see why in a minute. So self-sufficient buildings consume less electricity, they produce less garbage, but they also make less tax income. But, you know, you're paying less in electricity, you're paying less in, you know, recycling center maintenance. So there's a trade-off, but the other thing that it does is it has a pretty cool look to it, at least in the right setting. So I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start way down here where power might spread. Let's see if that'll work. So we have this tremendous amount of residential demand. I'm assuming these will fill in pretty quick, but they're a little less appealing because they're off by themselves. When you move people in next to other plots, they're usually a little happier about that. So we'll get a couple small houses going on this curve. Now, yeah, what somebody mentioned in the comments is let's do the Green Cities buildings, low density residential, with gravel paths, with the nature reserve footpaths, which are also kind of gravelly. And then I threw in another idea, which is we could kind of create a gated community, and in this case, just a little toll booth here. That's from, I want to say, Industries DLC, but it kind of gives us that look of, you know, a little gated off community with its own little private entrance, and then inside it's, you know, really green, sustainable living. Now, the reason that I thought this would work so well over here is that the lots are kind of drab, right? There's not a lot of grass. There are trees. As the buildings level up, there'll be little patches of grass on top of the buildings. But it's one of those things where, you know, it has this kind of drab, consistent look that's perfect in, at least I think, in a gated community setting where, you know, all houses kind of have to adhere to the same, you know, aesthetic type. If you look at, you know, certain gated communities, or even, you know, condo associations, there's limits on, you know, what colors you can use, what kind of decorations you can have. And I think this, let's take a look at this. It is slightly awkward transitioning from the toll booth to the gravel road, but once you're kind of in here, I think this kind of looks like a nice, you know, nice private community, really quiet roads. I don't think there's parking on gravel roads, so it'll just give it kind of a different look from what you see in the traditional residential neighborhoods. Now, in this case, these are all, you know, still very boxy grids. We haven't done any kind of loose layouts like this. But even just aesthetically, you know, it's a very different look. And I think this is going to be pretty cool for over here on the side of our map. But let me make this so it will spread the power accordingly. Right now, they're tied into their own power grid. I'm sorry, to the main power grid. But one of the things I was actually thinking about doing is introducing some actual IRL green concepts. And one of those things is microgrids. So it's just kind of a different way of spreading power and providing the power that's needed for that area, you know, with sustainable sources like wind, solar, whatever it might be. But we may not have everybody connected to one giant grid. We might have a couple separate power grids kind of doing their own thing, just supporting, you know, its own area. If we could get by with, you know, a windmill up here on the hill that supplies enough power for this residential area, maybe we do that and have that kind of disconnected and a little bit of separation. Speaking of separation, I'll continue to kind of work with these trees and fill in this gap here, but I kind of wanted to see where the buildings were going to go first before I spammed a bunch of trees over here. So let's shrink our brush size way down. Now I do like the conifers a lot, but actually let me get rid of those because they're not as appropriate to spam everywhere. The alders, the tree with leaves, the maple and oak, I think, is that what it was? Those are kind of part of the palette of the map. And then we did have some conifers up here out in the wild, which I use as an excuse to spam way too many of them in our town. I might have to delete some of those wild conifers. They're just too tall in some cases, but I don't know. Maybe they're not bad. Maybe it's nice to have the trees be the tallest thing in the city. Well, I take it back. These things, but we're gonna get rid of those eventually for some smaller sources of power. So I think that's pretty cool. Let me see. What do we... I could have just probably marquee zoned this, right? Would have been faster. Do it that way. There we go. Now, what we don't have over here, and we should consider, because we've got the money, is schooling. So it's not a capacity problem. It almost looks like... I mean, these people did move in recently, but there's not great coverage. So rather than put this in the gated community, I'm going to have this kind of right on the outside servicing the gated community. And then I think we've got enough money. And we're going to have a lot of people moving in, right? We're meeting a ton of residential demand right now. I'm just going to drop this in over here. I think our budget can handle it. And I want a well-educated population. They produce less garbage. The buildings level up faster, more tax income, higher land value. Lots of great things happen from educating your citizens. This is way too close to this. This needs to be more private and more separated. So I think we should move these across the street. That's a waste of money, but no, that's a waste of money. Picking up and putting it right back down. Good job. We'll put them across the street for now, so we can fill that in with some more trees. We'll do maybe some kind of crosswalk over here and some footpaths. Again, we'll use the... Let's take a look, actually. Let's drop a couple of them in. Not that they're going to use these as much, because they don't need to get around residential to residential, you know? But if we were going to have some footpaths that cut through here, should have thought of that before. Let's say some footpaths that cut through to the main street. Something like that. Let's delete this. I don't want a tiny little single wide house moving in there, but you know, that blends in really well with this aesthetic, and I think that was a great idea in the comments. I apologize, I don't remember who brought that up, but there were a couple kind of similar ideas, but that one seemed really cool, and I thought it again fit the map, what we're trying to do here, but also really fits this area with that, you know, again, slightly discolored look. We'll fill it in with some trees, some brush maybe would be a little different. Let's take a look at that. You know, we could do something like some bushes kind of scattered around here. It doesn't have to be trees everywhere, but it's nice to have some... You know, you can do some different... you can rotate these with a D-pad on console. You can kind of get them on top of one another if you wanted to create, you know, pockets. You gotta be real careful when you start squeezing them in together. But you can get them pretty close, just not, you know, not quite what you can do on the PC with Move It. But we can do stuff like that, and then, you know, a mixture of small trees. And I think that will look pretty nice. The other thing is too is we're making money every time somebody comes in or leaves for work, because there's no other way to get in and out of there. What we should do is also consider some of their other needs here. So let's think here, because there's one other thing that I want to get done today, and I think this is a good area we should be considering for this. So let's get our road out, because I need to tell you, not just not just have some weird kind of suspense happening here. Let's check all of our abandonment here. We're abandoning because we didn't have enough workers at one point. Certainly over here is the case, and it's tough for them to come out all this way. That should stabilize a little bit as more and more people move in over here. But what I wanted to do today is, I have to go into transport first, don't I? Yes, we do have to go into a regular road first. So let's come down here. Oh, okay, hold on. Remember when I started to talk about getting services over here? I get so distracted. Squirrel. So fire department. Where do we do this? I think we're gonna turn kind of this. No, it shouldn't be. It should not be part of the gated community. This though, they can leave and immediately turn into that zone, so that's fine. We'll do the same thing with police. We'll do the opposite. Since here, we'll put the healthcare on the other side, but let's do that. And for right now, we'll do a little turnaround here. This one, intersections. We'll have the people coming out of the zone stop. We'll let that go. Okay, so we've got a fire department. Hopefully that gets over there before our new neighborhood burns down. So, health, fire, police, education. That's good enough for now. We'll worry about garbage when they start complaining. So, that's a little turnaround road. Let's do something over here. A little road. That should be good enough. Is it gonna? I just like the 5s and the 10s. So, why we needed a road, long way around, is a tram station. This one. Yep. Must be placed by roadside. Okay, I'm trying. I guess I'll break those power lines. Where's it gonna let me put it? That works. And I don't know that we need those power lines, because that should be spreading power now. Let's see. That does. Okay, perfect. So we're good there. And now we can start upgrading tram roads. So this one, 2-lane road with tram tracks, will upgrade this connection to the main street. And I think this is close enough. We could have, you know, the footpaths, couple footpaths connecting through to a station over here, and we could kind of start our tram route right there. So we'll go over to 4-lane road with tram tracks. Let's see what this looks like. So we get 2 lanes of traffic plus a tram lane, but we lose the parking lane. And I really do like the parking lane on a main street. It makes it feel much more busy, but I also feel like tram would be a really cool central method of transportation up and down this little downtown area, because we don't need metro. We don't need metro for a little town. Now, you got to be careful doing this, because sometimes the curved segments will just ever so slightly change and de-zone buildings. Okay, so we've got tram running all the way down there, and then we'll need another turnaround for it. So we could bring it into this neighborhood, but I think we just turn this into a... Can we do tram only off of there and cause a tram only turnaround? I think that we can. Let's see. So what if we did something like this? It's a little... little funky. Is that too funky? I don't know. Let me know. Funky or too funky? I don't think not funky is an option. It's definitely funky, but funky or too funky? Comments down below, please. But it will work. That's the important thing. So tram line, let's get that in. We'll hit play. We'll see all this roll, and we'll see if they put this fire out in time. It's going to be a whole fun reveal. So over here, right? How do we want to kind of space these out? Do we want one kind of, you know? We don't want it in the middle of the block necessarily, because people will have to walk way down and cross over. It's going to be more appealing if we keep the stops kind of near the intersections, but not too close. How do people get to that center median? Do they walk? Do they crosswalk? I'm gonna have to look at that. They must crosswalk and then walk up the center median. So we'll create a new line, and be careful here if you're doing the 4-lane, because you can snap to either side of the middle of the road. So if I go from here to here, it's gonna have to go all the way down to that turnaround to get to that next stop. So we'll stay on this side of the road. I think we'll do, just because we don't want to back things up coming out of the station, let's do one at the end of the block. And then we'll do the same thing down here. We'll stop at basically the end of every block. This one, since there's no cross point, we'll come all the way down to there. Let's stop here before turning around and stopping at the end of each block on the other side. I think that will work. We just want to give an option to move some people around. Oh, do they not? They don't have a turnaround over here. Ah. And this is something that's really clunky to me. Maybe you know. I'm not sure. You can pick up this stop, or hit X to delete the last stop and then move it. But that just created a new line, so I totally messed that up. What I always end up doing is pulling on the line tool and hovering over. Where is it? It's going to let me do it. I don't want to add a stop. I want to delete the line. Just start over from scratch. So when we come back down here, the station does not count as a turnaround. So they're going to need to turn off over here and then do some sort of loop over this way. And I'm going to look at cleaning this up. And then they should be able to turn around right there. All right, so let's try this again. End of the block. Yes. And then we're going to go a real long ways down toward the end of this block before stopping here and doing the same thing on the way back. Right there. And close the loop here. There we go. Let's break out just to see if we can get some people going there. Did we do the lit path? Right, is that what that is? We'll just do the regular paths for now. We can always upgrade later. So I want to hook in kind of each little micro neighborhood with a footpath over here. Maybe if we had a footpath coming like this way through here, people might... I'm assuming there's crosswalks. People can cross at the... Yeah, they can. Okay. Good. Let's play... Okay, we got 2 fires over here. It's nice that these are immediately staffed when you drop them in. There go our trams. We might need a little bit of time. One thing, they're going to back up a little bit when they first all start rolling out. They'll start to space out on the line a little bit. All right, we're definitely going to get that fire. This one looks like it's a tree fire at this point, so... Have we unlocked? No. We unlock those first. 5,000. Why do you unlock the ability for the helicopter depot first, but not the Firewatch Tower? Like, that would be really useful to unlock those at the same time. Yeah, we'll delete a couple trees. You can't brush those. Just so that doesn't spread over here. Here, just to be safe. All right, so Main Street. You know what we haven't done? We haven't figured out what our where's the... Did I go into free camera? I did. What are our mascot options over here? Okay, what do I got? What is going on with all the... That was a lot of the same looking people. What do we have? We get the bear. We get the elephant, the bird. We haven't done the seagull yet. I don't know if it's as fun walking around as a seagull. We definitely haven't done the eagle. I don't know. Let's just walk around in first person. Is your height dependent? Is it camera height dependent on... Yeah, I think it is. So, let's go... what? 1 speed. People are crazy. Let's cross over here. Let's see if we can get to... Where are our stops? Okay. So yeah, how do people get here? Do they go to the crosswalk and then walk up the median? Okay. Good, safe pedestrian practices. I would get that dog on the sidewalk, though. He is levitating. That you should get checked out by an exorcist. Do they have dog exorcists? Is that a thing? So where's the trams at? One-time speed, come on. Have they not? I don't even think they've looped all the way around yet, have they? That's 3 times. Sorry, this is... Okay, here we go. There comes one. That just let a bunch of people off. That's great. Okay. So it's working. It's working. What's it gonna do for traffic? I don't know. What does it do for, you know, the look of Main Street? I really can go either way. I think that the tram is such a nice touch for a small town. I used it in my Winterfell snowfall build. It's a really cool small town feeling aspect, but you'll lose the parking lane in the process. I don't think there's any way to get that back. Is there 6-lane roads with trams? There isn't, right? What is this? This is standard. This is bike. Oh, grass, tree, bike. Bus lanes. 1-way. Grass, tree. Yeah. So there's no 6-lane option for that. So you've got to get rid of the parking lane to have trams, unfortunately, on vanilla. Pretty sure there's options on PC for just about any combination of roads. So we knew kind of where we started. 92%, that's not bad. You know, where's traffic backing up a little bit over here? Stopping for the trams. Oh, you know what I haven't done, and I probably should do before we quit for today, is I haven't double checked, and this is definitely something we want to look at, because 4 lanes intersecting with another road creates stoplights, and we don't need these. These are not helping anybody. The AI does just fine. This one will leave, because we want our influx of traffic to flow smooth, and that means taking turns. That one will look a little better, but generally I don't think people will back up traffic coming in and out of these zones, because it's all residential traffic that we're serving. So that one could be an exception, right? We want the trams to stop and let the traffic flow on the main street. But that should keep things moving well. We've got one really simple, stupid farmland over here. We've got to work on expanding this next. I think that's, you know, kind of one of the next big projects. But we'll tackle that on an upcoming episode. The biggest thing here, let's just take a look at it, is trying to make sure that it's continuing to grow. We have 73 of a possible 115 workers. We need 150, though, to get to the next level. We're not making a ton of money right now, but industries actually kind of ebbs and flows as your production crops up, and as you're producing goods and exporting stuff. You can actually make a lot of money with the industries DLC. So let's jump in here and expand our farm just a little bit. We've got the main building. We did a fruit crop field. What are they called? Crop field, fruit field, and we checked out how we can kind of change the appearance. Different looking fruit, different looking buildings. They're ultimately producing crops. These are producing animal products. You need crops to feed the animals to produce animal products. So if you're trying to kind of have a balance, you might need twice as much space on the food as the animal products, because you might also want to export food into other processes and things. So I don't know. It's a balancing act. Let's spam a couple more of these up here for now. We're going to move all this stuff around. This is to create some spots for workers. So we'll just do an entire second round. That's an animal pasture. Did the greenhouse, and we'll do a crop field, right? Yeah. So you can kind of see it, you know, ultimately these two buildings are producing food. The outside two here are producing food. And then the animal products are obviously where the animals are. As soon as they deliver food, you can see the animals pop into existence. So we'll keep adding buildings over here. We've got to provide some better routes for the residents to get over here. Maybe we should consider rethinking this and bringing a tram up to the edge of the zone, and maybe having a highway exit over here more central might make more sense. We've got highways unlocked now, so we've got some options. But yeah, we'll keep plugging away at this, trying to upgrade it. 180 possible workers. So, you know, we're still not fully staffed over here. How's our money? Enough that we could drop in maybe. What are we, 2 to 1 on the... Maybe one more round, so... Of just some different buildings. Will that fit? Sure, we'll take it. So that will increase our possible available worker count up to 245. We're at 105 of 245. We need to get to 150 for the next level. We've already produced more than enough goods, and we continue to produce those goods. So, you know, if that's part of reaching level 3, then we just need to add the workers. We might hit the resources long before we hit the worker count in a small town like this. So we won't have lots of different industries. In fact, we'll probably focus on one, you know, kind of massive farm that's spread out like, you know, like all these little farms are. But for right now, we're going to contain it on one little road, upgrade it, expand the area. We'll break out the industry area painting tool and then just drag this out to a larger area, kind of frame it out. You know, farm roads are generally pretty long and pretty straight, and you have these massive plots of land. So it'll kind of be like a big grid, but very different shapes and context over here, filling in this farmland. It's kind of triangle that you see on the map. And we'll work on getting a highway over here. All kinds of stuff to do. Lots and lots of stuff. Tram lines in for today. Funky, not funky. Let me know in the comments down below. Again, sorry, I said it wrong. Funky, too funky. Not funky, not an option. Definitely funky. Over here, how is our little green area doing? Let's take a look real quick at building levels over here. A couple of them have leveled up to 5. Is that true? Is that a level 5? Can we inspect a building? Yeah, no, I didn't think so. It kind of, right? Did that not look? So look at the residential levels. The obvious lack of color and gray is, you know, level 1 and 2. You start to see that green tint in 3 and 4. How is that not? That just doesn't look right. Okay, all right. Either way, Look at all the people using that footpath. We should definitely give them some more footpaths. So let's, down by this intersection, let's get rid of, this house is like right on top of the other house. So sorry, buddy. You should have left a little bit of room there. Then again, I zoned it, so why am I blaming him? Footpaths. All the way at the end? Close enough to the end? Freeform. Not quite snapping where I want to on the road. Okay, let's turn off snapping for a minute. I didn't mean to do that last one. That's fine though. Elevation step down. So let's come right about there. Man, I gotta do that more often. We could even try do that a little different. So what if we come out like that just a little bit? That before we kind of hook back towards here. Man, that is nice without the snapping. How did I get through 10 seasons, 9 seasons before I seriously considered not snapping footpaths? I mean, if you're doing, you know, footpaths, we haven't done footpaths through here, have we? Man, I left space for it. But if you're doing footpaths through, like, you know, a grid area, then absolutely, snapping is great. But if you want to make a little bit more free-flowing, and if it doesn't let you snap to the side of the road correctly, don't hesitate to turn the snapping options off. Only took me 10 seasons. Well, 9 technically. Only took me 9 seasons. So, lots of people moving around on foot. We'll have to look at possible remedies over here, like adding in some parks and stuff. Educate more of your citizens to let the building be upgraded. So they all just moved in. They'll get educated, and that will take care of itself. Hopefully, we could. There's not a lot of car traffic down here. Do we do it? Pause. Let's see if we can do this without messing this up. I should have saved it first. So that should be okay. Oh, I don't have decorative roads, but the decorative roads don't work with the... Wrong button. Decorative roads don't work with this trick anyways for 4 lanes. Let's see. It's a little slop. It's a little silly. But it works. Creates a crosswalk at the schools to get people easier in and out of this neighborhood. We're getting them walking that way. I should connect maybe a footpath through here so that these people on the backside can walk this way, kind of straight through the zone. That might be nice. Industry area leveled up. There we go. So we'll work on starting to expand this out a little bit into a temporary framework. But I think we've got to figure out highway exit over here. I think this is a good spot where this kind of flattens out. We could do something. Maybe we could have another exit that goes up this way into this relatively flat area. We'll have to landscape a little bit, but we could do something over here. We'll keep things very, very small overall, but you know, if we're gonna expand a little bit, you know, maybe like an office park or something that might be sensible over on the other side of the highway. Lots to do, lots to think about. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. A little bit all over the place, a couple squirrel moments. But like I said, I was really excited about some of the developments in this particular part of the build because, you know, we start to build green cities and have, you know, some different free-flowing neighborhoods. And I really like this aesthetic. So thanks for that in the comments. Again, that is self-sufficient buildings, gravel roads, and nature reserve paths. And the little added bonus of using a toll booth as kind of a gated community entrance. Maybe we'll put up some walls and stuff and really gate the whole thing off and put some trees up around it. We'll detail as we go. Dropped in the trams here. Again, funky or too funky. Not funky is not an option. Let me know in the comments. And we'll keep expanding. I think probably what makes sense in the next one, highway, industry, and a little catch up. I think I was going to mention it, and I will before I close the episode out. I actually got a couple great comments about, you know, turning this old industrial district into, you know, a little leisure spot, entertainment, something like that. You know, warehouse, a series of warehouses. Right now, though, we're just going to keep the industry. It's totally fine for now because we are polluting this area no matter what, because this is our sewage treatment. We're draining it into the ground. There's nothing we can do about it. We're going to pollute this area. So until we have a better option, and specifically, when is that option? Not for a while. Does this 100% reduce advanced eco-friendly inland water treatment, building processes and drains wastewater back into the ground and the plant surroundings? So very little pollution, but we could continue dumping it into the ground. We could, at 36,000 population, use the eco water treatment plant from the Green Cities DLC. Zero pollution, just turns it back into clean water, and then we can bury our water intake and output in the bottom of the lake and just kind of hide it. So I think that's the route we'll go, and once we get there, then we can worry about dezoning over here, moving stuff out. Real quick. This one got abandoned. That's too bad. Hopefully we got enough workers. I was going to do an ice cube factory, but you know what? We'll figure out what building we want to keep when we eventually turn this into something else, and we'll name it Ice Cube Factory then. For those of you that have been here, you know. For those that don't, you got to go back. You got to go back a ways to find the origins of Ice Cube Factory. It may have even been season 2, Santa Rico. I'm not sure. It was a while ago, and it's made multiple appearances in multiple cities in the most ridiculous contexts. Hopefully you enjoyed this nonsense, but if you didn't, you probably left by now. So if you stayed, hit that like button. Comments and shares help too, and they are all greatly appreciated. If you're new here, subscribe for more of this, and hit the bell to get notifications for updates in this and other series. If you got questions, stop on by the Discord. Fantastic group of people over there, regardless of what platform you may play cities on. We talk about other games too, so stop on by. Fans of the game, fans of the channel. Really great group if you've got questions. If you'd like to support the channel, links to that and all those other things are in the description down below. But until the next one, we'll work on maybe a little highway project and some industry area expansion. This is Move the Mouse, signing off.